Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Twisdale. Felicity and I are going to make lesson 5.1 today, modeling percents. We'll see how helpful she is. Our objective today is I can model percents on a 10 by 10 grid. When you're working today, you're going to need some 10 by 10 grids so that you can color those in and you can just glue them straight into your notebook. Let's go ahead and get started. So you've heard of percentages before. A percent is a ratio or a rate that compares a number to 100. The word percent actually means per 100. Whoops. Let's try it again. It means per 100, okay? The symbol for percent is this sign right here. It actually kind of looks like a 100 with the one between the two zeros. Where do we see percentages in everyday life? We talk about percents all the time in everyday life. The most obvious one I think of is like your battery percentage. How much battery do you have left on your phone or on your Chromebook? That's in a percentage. Where else do we see percents? We see it when there's like a sale, a percentage off. Yeah, do not feel good. We see percents. Let me think. In sales. Oh, we see it a lot in grades, like how well you scored on your test. Is it 100% or 90%? Or 2%, that'd be a really bad test score, right? So we see percentages all the time throughout our life, and so now you're going to learn how percentages work. So we're going to be using these 10 by 10 grids today. The whole square represents 100%. So if the whole thing is colored in, 100%. If just one box is colored in, then it's just 1%, okay? And there's 100 squares altogether because there's 10 across times 10 down. So there are 100 squares. If you want to sit there and count them, you can, but just you can trust me, there's 100 squares. And then just that one is 1%. Okay, so a percentage is a ratio out of 100. So 33% written right here is the same as 33 to 100, or we can write it as a fraction of 33 100ths. All of these are the same thing, and I'm going to show you how we can model 33% on a 10 by 10 grid. We simply color in as many percentages as the number is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10%. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20%, 21%, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30%, 31, 32, and 33%. So remember, percentage is out of 100. So out of 100 boxes, we have 33%, or 33 boxes colored in. So that's what percentages represent. So now I want you to calculate what is the percent of the unshaded portion. I didn't label this. This is your first try it problem. I know, we gotta try it. See? Like that. Ta-da! Okay, so I want you to find what's the percent of the unshaded portion. Go ahead and try that now. Okay. Alright, so to find the percent of the unshaded portion, the part that's not green, you need to count up all of these boxes. And I'm going to count them by rows of 10, starting from the right side. So here's 1, 2, counting by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then I'm going to count the individual 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67. So the answer for the unshaded portion is 67%. All right, here's some other try it problems. You're going to write the ratio. You can use colon, word, or fraction form and model the percent. So start with 24% and then move on to 50%. Go ahead and try that now. Okay, so in order to do this, you want to model 20% or 24%. You can start with 10% by doing a whole row. Oh, it's hard to color that small on here. So that's 10%. And now I need to do 20%. So I'm going to do another whole column here. And then I need to do 4 individuals. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's 24%, and I can write it in colon form, which would be 24 to 100. Or I could do word form, 24 to 100. Or I could do as a fraction, 24 over 100. Sorry, that was kind of sloppy. Go ahead and, well, I think you already tried 50%, so I'll just go ahead and do the answer now. I'm going to make my marker a little bit thicker here. And you don't always have to do it from the left side, so I'm going to go across this way now. There's 10%, 20%, 30, 40, and 50%. And you'll notice that 50% is the same as half. See, we colored in half of the box, or 50%, because 50 is half of 100. So the ratio would be a 50 to 100 ratio, or we could simplify that to a 1 to 2 ratio, or a 1/2 ratio. Alright, here's another try it problem. I'll do an example and then 2 try it. So you're going to write the ratio and the percent again, based off of what they've colored in. So for the first example, I'm going to count how many rows of 10 they have. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they have 1, 2, 3. So they have 53 boxes colored in, which is 53%. And then I can write this as a ratio of 53 over 100. Okay, so go ahead and try the 2 try it problems on your own. Okay, this first try it problem, I don't even have to count them because it looks like the whole box is colored in, which is going to be 100 squares, or 100%. And I could write that ratio as 100 over 100. Or I could even just do a 1-to-1 ratio, because simplified, that's 1 to 1. And then in the second try it problem, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So that's 40, or 40 over 100. Or that can even be simplified to 4 over 10. Oops, that's a 4. Or even, let's see, if we divide that by 2, that would be 2/5. 2 to 5 ratio. So all those are the same way to write what that shape represents. There's so many ways you can write it, and they're all equal. Alright, so here's a try it, kind of a word form. So I want you to explain it, and you can just type it into the Chromebook. You don't have to write it into your notebook. Explain how you would use a 10 by 10 grid to model just 7%. And I can put a 10 by 10 grid up here so you can see it. Okay, so using this 10 by 10 grid, will you please write for me how you would model 7%? So your answer might be something like mine. I would say I can model 7%, there it is, on a 10 by 10 grid by coloring in, or shading if you want it to sound fancy, 7 of the boxes, which represents 7 out of 100. So you might have written something like that. Maybe yours is a little bit different. And then to show 7%, we could actually just 1, 2, 3, 4. We can just model it right here. 5, 6, and 7. And that is 7%. Now, if that was your battery on your phone, you should probably charge your phone. Currently, my phone is at 3% battery. It needs to be charged. Okay, here's another try it problem for you. This one's a little bit different. take fractions and put it onto a grid. Model 1/4 on a 10 by 10 grid. What percent is shaded? And explain. This one's a level 4 question, so I want you to go ahead and try it on your own. Okay, so I want to think to myself, if I was going to split this grid into 1/4, I would think draw a line halfway and halfway. So let's see if I can make that happen. I think that'd be right about here. Hi, Felicity. How are you? So if I color in, all right. Yeah, that's okay. And so then when I color all of those in, that's 1/4 of the grid. And if I count up those boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 5, it would be 25%. And if you remember from when we studied decimals at the first of the year, hi, 1/4 can be written as a decimal as 0.25%. So start to notice that these are the same thing, and percents just flow into fractions and decimals like we've been learning previously. And then if you were to explain this, you would explain a fourth can be written as 0.25, which is also 25%. Okay, we have a couple more problems. Woo, that one's a little crooked there. Okay, explain how you could model 0.5% on my 10 by 10 grid. Go ahead and write your answer. So to model half of a percentage, we would need half of a 1% box. So if I zoom this in really big, 0.5% would just be, oops, let me get the pen here, half of 1%. So it would be a very, very tiny amount. Very, very small amount because it's only half of 1%. And so when we kind of zoom out, I think I drew it a little too big. It would be, how could you model? I would shade just 1/2 of one box on the grid. And that's what we've done there. Oops. Now, how would you model 181% using 10 by 10 grids? Think about that one. You know that each box represents 1%, so how could you model 181%? Oh, this is a try it problem, by the way. So in order to model 181%, we're actually going to need 2 10 by 10 grids, because the first one we will color in fully, which will be 100%. Okay, so 181 is 100 plus 81. So the first one is going to be my 100. The second one is going to be my 81. So here's all of these colored in. And then I would represent 80. And then one single one right here. And that would be 181%. We don't see over 100% very often, but every once in a while we do. And so notice that it does take 2 grids because it's over one whole. Okay. If we were to write this as a fraction, it would be 1 and 81 hundredths. And as a decimal, it would be 1.81. So 1 whole and 81 left over. Okay, so it looks like that was my last one. I had a blank side on there. So that's all of today's lesson for today. I hope you understand more lots and lots of practice with this, and that you can put it into your everyday life. Blakey, do you have anything to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. All right, boys and girls. I hope you have a great day of learning.